The Bold and the Beautiful's must-watch moments for Friday, January 23rd include Finn trying to avoid Sheila at Il Giardino. Plus, Dylan promises Electra that she won't cross any boundaries. When Deacon discovered that Sheila had hidden the truth about Luna still being alive, it hit him hard. He truly believed Sheila had turned a corner, and realizing she'd protected such a devastating lie left him reeling and questioning everything they'd built together. Struggling to process the fallout, Deacon leaned on Taylor for guidance. What began as professional support slowly crossed into personal territory. Taylor tried to re-establish boundaries, but the pull between them proved too strong, and they continued seeing one another despite knowing the risks. Steffi soon put the pieces together and attempted to enlist Hope to shut things down before Sheila found out. Instead, Hope embraced the relationship, relieved to see her father finally moving forward. That response only deepened Steffi's anxiety, fueling her fear that the situation could spiral out of control. Steffi pleaded with Taylor to drop Deacon as a client, but Taylor refused. Rather than stepping back, she and Deacon gave in fully to their feelings. Everyone worked hard to ensure that Sheila didn't learn about Taylor and Deacon's budding romance. At the same time, Steffi hired a struggling Dylan to work alongside Electra and Will at Forrester Creations. Dylan is also living with the couple, though Electra has recently asked him to give her some space. Electra recently expressed her concerns about Dylan to Will, and he reassured her. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers hint that Electra Forrester may find Dylan's lingerie and assume Will Spencer is cheating. Will a laundry mix-up be to blame and lead to a shocking outcome? In the January 21st episode, Dylan was doing laundry loads that included some of Will and Electra's clothing. Will was surprised to see their stuff mixed in and assured Dylan that she didn't have to do that. Of course, whenever a conversation like this happens, it's often a sign of trouble on soaps. The fact that B&B devoted airtime to a laundry-related conversation is suspicious and points to a potential plot twist. It may be significant that Dylan, Electra, and Will's laundry is apparently all jumbled up together. There's the potential for some confusion that could end in disaster for Will and Electra's relationship. Concerns have already been raised over Dylan hanging out with Will alone at the beach house. Ivy Forrester found it inappropriate, so the writers may be trying to plant some seeds of distrust for Electra. Electra herself already warned Dylan that no one likes having a house guest for too long. Although Electra doesn't want Dylan living in her car, she's anxious to see her friend get a place of her own. However, Dylan is clearly falling for Will, despite her promise to respect his relationship with Electra. Now B&B may be setting up a laundry fiasco that's going to leave Electra with major cheating suspicions. It's easy to imagine some of Dylan's lingerie ending up in the wrong place. It could be an innocent mistake if it accidentally gets lumped in with Electra's belongings, and Will drops it somewhere in his bedroom. Then again, the show just offered up a hint about Dylan's spicy side during her dinner with Will. Maybe that was a clue that Dylan's character is about to take a spicy turn as well. If that's the case, perhaps Dylan will get a little manipulative in the coming episodes. Dylan might plant the lingerie in Will's room herself in hopes of causing problems in his romance with Electra. Regardless, Electra might ultimately make a discovery that leaves her fuming. If Electra finds Dylan's lingerie where it isn't supposed to be, she may assume Will's cheating on her. Electra might hurl accusations at Will, but a better option might be if she goes running straight to RJ Forrester for comfort. This could lead to Electra kissing or hitting the sheets with RJ based on a misunderstanding. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers suggest bad news is brewing for Electra and Will's relationship no matter what, so stay tuned for updates on all the drama. On The Bold and the Beautiful, Deacon Sharp and Taylor Hayes are crossing dangerous lines that could finally shatter Sheila Carter's sanity and unleash her darkest impulses. While Steffi is already panicking about her mother's new entanglements, the real danger lurks elsewhere. If this relationship goes public, it won't just be a scandal. It will be the catalyst that sends Sheila spiraling back into her most lethal patterns. Now we have been following Sheila for some time, and we know the things she is capable of when motivated like this. Is Taylor in danger? I think so. Sheila has been holding on to a tenuous redemption narrative, mainly being hinged on her marriage to Deacon. He has been her anchor, the one person who validated her existence outside of her lengthy criminal history. If Taylor, it confirms Sheila's deepest insecurity, that she is unworthy of love compared to the respectable women of Los Angeles. This isn't just a breakup, it's called a displacement. And when Sheila feels displaced, she doesn't cry. She plots and she schemes, and that's not good for LA. The crazy thing here is Lee. Well, not her specifically, but her gravitation towards Sheila. This was a move I never saw coming. Lee has become one of Sheila's few remaining contacts that still give her the time of day. Lee's own descent into bitterness, fueled by her recent traumas and the Luna debacle, has created a bizarre, unspoken kinship between the two mothers. But can Lee actually prevent Sheila's spiral? It's doubtful. Lee is currently operating with a scorched earth mentality herself. Instead of talking Sheila off the ledge, Lee might inadvertently hand her a safe way down. If Lee validates Sheila's anger toward Taylor, seeing it as another instance of a Logan or Forrester woman taking what isn't theirs, she could weaponize Sheila rather than pacify her. Is this what Lee wants? Could this be what her plan is? Lee is angry at a lot of things after all. We are looking at the perfect storm. Deacon is playing with not just fire, but what could amount to a raging inferno. Assuming he can manage Sheila's emotions while pursuing Taylor would be a mistake comparable to crossing the freeway while blindfolded. He is so very wrong. Dark Sheila isn't gone. She's just been dormant, awaiting a trigger. Losing Deacon to Taylor Hayes would be exactly that trigger. The question isn't if Sheila will retaliate, but who will be left standing when she inevitably does. Donna and Eric are one of the Bold and the Beautiful's most solid couples. However, their marriage might face a major test thanks to Eric's desire to design again. Donna's attitude towards Eric's decision is garnering mixed reactions from viewers. Donna loves her husband Eric, and she wants him to be happy. Designing is Eric's passion, and Donna's always been supportive of his career. However, his latest decision is causing concern. Eric was the founder and lead designer of Forrester Creations. It was a place he called his second home, but thanks to Ridge and Brooke, he was forced into retirement. However, Eric isn't sailing off into the sunset. His desire to design is still burning bright, and he's now teaming up with Katie at Logan. Eric working at Logan will benefit both him and Katie. Not only will she get a talented lead designer to kickstart her fashion house, but he'll still be able to pursue his passion. One would think Donna would be supportive of Eric's new venture, yet she seems reluctant to stand by her man. Donna's behavior regarding Eric has sparked a debate on Reddit. Many fans think that Donna should be more supportive of her husband. Donna should be encouraging Eric to do what is good for his health, which is designing, wrote one viewer. I think they all need to stop forcing him to do something he doesn't want to do. He hasn't shown any signs of sickness or being run down or nothing, so let the man do what he wants, declared one commenter. However, some fans think Eric's health is why Donna's concerned. Stress can be a dangerous thing, and the kind of stress creating a new fashion house entails can be more than his heart can handle. Eric's a grown man and can make his own decisions, and he's determined to design for Logan. But his decision will lead to tension within the Forrester and Logan families. Eric and Ridge's relationship will be further strained thanks to his father's betrayal. Meanwhile, the Logan sisters' feud will heat up with Brooke, accusing Katie of sabotage. And of course, poor Donna is going to be stuck right in the middle. Little does Eric know that his desire to design will cause trouble for his wife's family, and it might also test his and Donna's marriage too. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers hint that Ridge Forrester may disown Eric Forrester. Will Eric and Ridge's father-son bond be destroyed over the Logan designer curveball? Eric and Katie Logan Spencer managed to keep his new role quiet for now, but they're only delaying the inevitable. In fact, Katie and Eric are making things worse by keeping secrets from Ridge and Brooke Logan Forrester. Donna Logan Forrester can tell a major battle is brewing, so she's been trying to get through to Eric and Katie. Although Donna would prefer to see Eric go back to Forrester Creations part-time, he's totally committed to this path with Katie instead. Eric doesn't want to sign up for more disrespect at Forrester, and would much rather devote himself to an incredible Logan launch. Unfortunately, that decision is sure to do some serious damage to Eric's relationship with Ridge. To be fair, Ridge started the tension by forcing a retirement party on Eric. Although Eric's been holding his tongue and trying to keep the peace, he's still hurt and angry over the way Ridge treated him. Of course, B&B spoilers say it'll be Ridge's turn to feel betrayed once he gets updates on Eric's new employer. At some point, Ridge will indeed find out about Eric's Logan designer job, so that news won't go over well at all. You can bet Ridge will rip into Eric with everything he's got, but Eric will no doubt defend his position and stand his ground. It's easy to imagine this leading to an ultimatum where Ridge vows to disown Eric if he doesn't quit working for the enemy. When Eric digs his heels in even more, Ridge may flat out tell Eric that he's not his father anymore. Perhaps Ridge will take a jab over Eric not being his real father anyway, since his bio dad was Massimo Morone. R.J. Forrester recently brought up the Morone situation during a conversation with Electra Forrester, so this drama between Eric and Ridge could help push the "we have no blood ties" angle for R.J. and Electra too. Regardless, the Bold and the Beautiful spoilers say Ridge and Eric have more family friction ahead of them, so stay tuned. On the January 21st, 2026 episode of The Bold and the Beautiful, Steffi gave Electra good news. Ivy meddled in her niece's relationship, Will and Dylan bonded, and Deacon daydreamed about passionately kissing Taylor. At Deacon's apartment, Hope recognized that her father's feelings for Talyor were genuine. Deacon insisted that he was married and committed to Sheila, but Hope reminded him of Sheila's own previous deceptions. He begged her not to encourage him to move forward with Taylor. Deacon's primary motivation to avoid giving in to his feelings with Taylor appeared to be directly tied to his wife's mental instability. He feared what she'd do to get revenge for his betrayal. Deacon couldn't risk putting Taylor in that type of direct danger. Deacon wanted to address Sheila's feelings realistically. He cared so deeply about Taylor, and putting her in Sheila's warpath could put her life in jeopardy. Hope pleaded with him not to put his life on hold because of Sheila's feelings, which prompted Deacon to ask if he should end his marriage. Hope recalled that Deacon had been separated from Sheila not so long ago. If his heart was divided, he should fight for his freedom. Deacon asked for some time to think about his next steps, but he appreciated everything Hope brought to him. Hope asked Deacon to run to Taylor and open up to her about everything, so all his feelings would be out in the open. In Taylor's office, Steffi continued to plead with her mother to avoid incurring Sheila's wrath. Steffi was done listening to her mother, telling her what she wanted to hear. She demanded that Taylor listen to her and drop Deacon as her patient immediately. Steffi floated the idea that Deacon could potentially leave Sheila to start something with her. She was certain that this would end badly for everyone involved. Once Steffi was gone, Deacon barged into Taylor's office, and he told her that it couldn't wait. Deacon and Taylor confessed that they wanted to remain in each other's lives. Deacon called Taylor the most beautiful and amazing woman, but the conversation ended there. Deacon and Taylor engaged in a passionate lip lock. Unfortunately, for Deacon, it was merely a fantasy sequence, and he hadn't confessed to having done anything. Deke tried to avoid running into Sheila at Il Giardino, but she caught him as he tried to leave. She wanted to speak about the love she and Deacon shared. Deke didn't want to engage with Sheila, but she persisted. Sheila was desperate to point out Deacon's commitment to her and to argue that, if he was willing to take her back, why couldn't he and Hope accept her? Sheila was hopeful that Deke and Hope would find a way to encourage the relationship instead of just tolerate it. Deke brought up Taylor, and he asked if Sheila was okay with the amount of time they spent together. Sheila sang Taylor's praises and touted her ability as a psychiatrist. Sheila believed that Taylor was special and did everything in her power to save her marriage. Instead of responding to his stepmother, Deke simply got up and walked away. In the Forrester design room, Ivy apologized for making Electra stay late at work. She assumed that her niece likely had previous plans with Will. Ivy pointed out that with Dylan staying in the guest house, Will wouldn't be entirely alone for the evening. Ivy believed that Dylan must be eternally grateful to Will and Electra for their help. Electra agreed and labeled her as a good friend to both of them. Although Ivy thought the sentiment toward helping Dylan was sweet, she asked Electra whether she believed it was inappropriate that Will shared a home with Dylan. Ivy remarked that Electra had been away from Eric's home for far too long. However, Elektra assured Ivy that she had told Will she couldn't stay over as often. She asked how Will had taken the news, and Elektra explained that, despite being disappointed, he understood. Steffi returned to the office, and she wanted to speak with Elektra about Dylan. There was an opening for Dylan to become a receptionist at Forrester, but nothing was official quite yet. Elektra ferociously thanked Steffi for being willing to help Dylan through the most difficult time of her life. At Will's beach house, Dylan felt awkward being there without Elektra present. He didn't want the food to go to waste, so he invited her to join him for dinner. Will noticed that Dylan had done some of his and Elektra's laundry, despite urging her to only worry about her own. However, she was adamant about repaying his kindness in any way that he could. Dylan raved over Will's teriyaki chicken and called it the best she ever had. Will received a text from a reporter seeking his opinion on Katie's defection from Forrester. Will believed that Katie wasn't treated properly, so he thought this was the best move for his mother. Will confided in Dylan about his time at Forrester, and he hoped that Steffi would be able to find a spot at the company. Dylan was curious about the origin story for Will and Elektra's romance. He gave her the Cliff Notes version of the tale, and Dylan again thanked Will for saving her life. Later on, Will passed out on the couch, and Dylan circled him. She watched him closely as he snored. If you're still making plans for the weekend, you'll want to stop by Pasadena Comic-Con on Sunday, January 25th. The Bold and the Beautiful fans will be excited to know Sean Kanan is set to make an appearance at the one-day event. The soap star took to Instagram to announce he'll be there representing the Karate Kid franchise and promoting his personal development method, Way of the Cobra. On B&B, Sean Kanan plays Deacon Sharp, a restaurateur currently stuck between a rock and a hard place regarding his marriage to Sheila Carter and his newfound attraction to his therapist, Dr. Taylor Hayes. But at Pasadena Comic-Con, it's his time as Mike Barnes that will take the spotlight. Kanan played the Karate Kid villain in the third film of the franchise. He reprised the role for Netflix's Cobra Kai, with a storyline that showed how Mike had grown as a person in the decades since he fought Danny LaRusso. But karate isn't a martial art the actor learned for a movie. He's trained in the discipline since he was a teenager, and its principles have played a part in his work on and off screen. When he's not running Deacon's successful Italian restaurant, Il Giardino, Kanan is a personal development coach who has authored 3 books: Way of the Cobra, Welcome to the Kumite, and Way of the Cobra Couples. Pasadena Comic-Con ticket holders will have an opportunity to learn more about Kanan's career and business ventures, like his hot sauce company, Bad Boy Sauce, on January 25th. Pasadena Comic-Con will take place at Pasadena Convention Center, located at 300 E Green Street in Pasadena, California. The event is being held in Halls A and B, as well as in the Artist Alley Ballroom. Doors open for early admission ticket holders at 9 a.m. PT. General admission ticket holders will be let in at 10 a.m. This is a one-day Comic-Con. It'll end at 5 p.m. The Bold and the Beautiful recently delved into Will's rivalry with RJ. The two met again at Forrester Creations, where they agreed not to feud like their fathers. RJ made his triumphant return, as Will tries to find his place without his mom working there. RJ was immediately attracted to Elektra upon meeting her. Elektra is in a committed relationship with Will, but that's not going to stop RJ from getting to know her better. He could use his proximity to Elektra at work to distract Will. Their close-knit friendship could cause Will to make mistakes on important business matters or projects. As evidenced in the past, Will has prioritized his romance over his other duties, which has made him feel behind. RJ could use this to his advantage by making himself look like he's better suited for the job. Or he could turn the tables by trying to romance Elektra. Will might become so emotionally distraught that he resigns to avoid the pain of seeing them together. RJ is a trained fashion designer, whereas Will has no experience. Will is still trying to find his footing in the fashion world. He only agreed to work at Forrester Creations after he met Elektra, and sparks flew between them. RJ could remind the company that Will belongs at Spencer Publications with Bill, Katie, Nini, and Liam. He could patronize Will and undermine his contributions to Forrester Creations. RJ might see Will as an amateur who got the job due to nepotism. He could make Will's work environment so toxic that he would want to quit his job. Will might decide to work for his father's media empire instead. Or, he might decide to join Katie at her rival fashion house. Will's slowly getting pushed out of Forrester Creations. Ridge might have informed him that he still has a place there, but there's a quiet shift behind the scenes. There's more focus on Elektra's jewelry line, Hope's couture collection, and Daphne's fragrance. RJ can align himself with these profitable, new ventures, which could make Will's role seem redundant or unnecessary.